All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebony, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style, and I have Danielle with us today. How are you, Danielle?
Good. How are you?
I am awesome. She is a busy woman of a couple of youngsters, and she also has a husband that she cares for as well. So, you guys, take a listen to everything that she wants to share with us today. She's taken some genuine time from her schedule to connect with you. And for those of you that do listen to the end, you will have an opportunity to get a complimentary gift. So, stick with us for just a bit. Danielle, can you tell us one motivational quote that really gets you going to start us off with?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be able to just chat and share.
You're welcome.
I was thinking about the quote, and I'm like, this one really stood out to me. It says, "There's only one you for all time. Fearlessly be yourself." And that's Anthony Rapp.
Repeat that one more time. You kind of
Oh, did it
gave
cut out?
out in your voice just a little bit. Repeat it one more time because I love that quote and I want for people to hear that.
All right. There's only one you for all time. So fearlessly be yourself.
Love it. What made you decide that that was a motivational quote for you?
Well, it's kind of what got me started blogging and just wanting to influence people. And I just feel like everybody has a story, and only you can share that story, and only you can be you. And if we're not hearing your story as the world, we're missing out. And so we all make up the pieces to the big puzzle. And so, yeah, I'm just really inspired to encourage people to be themselves and to do it fearlessly. That's the big part of it.
Yes. And your voice was dipping in and out a little bit, but you
Okay.
basically were saying that we should live our lives fearlessly and put out our story because, in all actuality, we're the only ones that are living out our story, right?
Totally.
And I truly understand that for some people that could be difficult to do because they've been judged all their lives and they
Definitely.
don't want to walk around talking about the things that happened to them based on previous experiences of people not accepting their story.
Yeah,
Tell us
absolutely.
about a time when you did not necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel, and through perseverance, even amongst obstacles, you were able to bring your dream or your goal to fruition.
Yeah, I feel it. There's a few times that that's happened in my life. One of them was when I was 19 years old. I was in a relationship with a man, and I thought I was going to marry him, and he ended up dying in a motorcycle accident. And
Wow.
I literally, I wanted to die. Like, I told God, I promised him I wouldn't kill myself because I couldn't do that to my friends, my family, but I really didn't want to live anymore because if there was just so much pain, and it was just so hard to go on. Um, but through that, I found God. I found my faith, and it was so hard, but I realized, Kate, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here for a reason, and I didn't go, so I'm still here for a reason. And I started to search out, okay, God, who do you say that I am?
Mm-hmm.
And what's my purpose on this earth? And what can I do for people? And I had also been through sexual abuse when I was young, and I just didn't know. I had so much shame. I didn't know how to be me. Just how you talked about, people don't want to share their stories all the time because it's painful. Like, there's
Right.
hurts, wounds, there's judgments, like you said. Like, you don't know how people are going to take it. But I kind of realized that, you know what, we only have one life,
Yeah.
and I want to live it. And I don't want to be silent anymore. And if my story can help one person in this world, then it was worth it.
Yes.
And I've actually had
And
experience.
I,
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
and I believe that with your intention on wanting to share your story, you'll definitely impact more than one person. So I think that being
Yeah,
vulnerable connects us to people and they're left with feeling that
absolutely.
they're not alone, so that they can navigate their own life journey a better way. And I think that sometimes that's missing on social media. So I commend you for being on social media and wanting to share your story authentically so that people can connect with you. And I'm pretty sure that some people are looking forward to your content that you put out because they understand that you're the real you. Like, this is the real Danielle. There's no mask. I'm sure you don't tell all your dirty laundry, but for the most part, you're trying to convey a message of hope for people. So I commend you for that. Has there been a time when you connected with someone that followed you on social media and maybe you didn't even know that you were influential to them, and they just flat out came out and said, Danielle, I really look forward to your content that you put out, and you've really inspired me and changed my life?
I actually have, and it's funny because sometimes you think like only the people that are commenting on your photos or commenting or like leaving you messages are the one touch. But actually had someone up to me who never's liked a photo or never's liked a post or never commented or anything like that. And they were just, thank you so much. Like, what you put out today, I so needed. And basically it was just about how we receive love. And if we can't receive love for ourselves, we're not going to be able to receive love from each other or anybody else. And she was like, I just so needed that because she realized like, I need to see myself how God sees me. Yeah. And she needs to see the treasure in herself, because if we don't see the treasure in ourselves, we're not going to see it in other people either. But, there's that wall.
Right?
So,
yeah. And I think that for some people, they may not have grown up in a loving family. They might not have close friends or what they would call a real friend. They may not have a strong support system. So they're looking for people like you that show up online and show up as your true self and connect with them in a certain way. And, it's unfortunate sometimes that social media is, for some people, their sense of connection to the outside world. But at the very same time, it could be a very powerful tool. So I'm sure that there may be people in her circle that she could look eye to eye with that are not necessarily going to have an experience that really causes her to be motivated to be a better person. And as you said, for her to see herself as God sees her. So I think that social media could be an excellent tool. Tell us a little bit about the intention behind your social media presence. Like, what made you decide one day that, I really want to put my story out there and influence people the way that I have. And I know that you're still growing too. So you're going to also increase your following and continue to empower people all around the world. But what was your initial vision or your initial intention with it?
Yeah, I feel like I've been through a few things in my life, and I feel like I've overcome them. And I feel like people so need hope, and they need to know oh, wow, that's possible. I can be completely 100% free from my sexual abuse trauma. I can be 100% free in my marriage. My trauma doesn't have to affect my marriage.
Right.
Going through a death at such a young age, wow, that doesn't have to affect me. Of course, there's things that, they're there, but they don't cripple me anymore.
Right.
And I think there's a difference between people struggling and then being crippled. Right. And I just want to see people free. I believe that I have received something that is so special, and obviously life is not perfect, and it's not, there's struggles and there's things you go through and there's circumstances and all of those things.
Right.
But I really truly believe that even in the worst of circumstances, that we can have a peace that surpasses all understanding and surpasses the circumstance. And if I can get hope, or if I can encourage someone for the day, or if I can, encourage them to keep going, that's everything to me. And just to see people really living their full selves out, being free to be who they are, who they were created to be and designed to be, and fulfill that purpose that they have on their life. That's what gets me excited. And so, my little corner of the internet, if that can be an encouraging place and inspiring place and a motivational place, and also a challenging place, right? Like, I don't believe that we grow unless we're challenged. And so there's
Yeah.
lots of times that I've been challenged in my life, and it's helped me to grow. And so if I can do that for people, then that's awesome.
Yes. And sometimes when we're experiencing those challenges, we can't necessarily see what's going to come of it. But if
Yeah,
we think back on all of our previous challenges, just kind of like what you just mentioned, we see that we're able to be a lot stronger than we think we have the capability of doing. So it's a journey, and you're going to have your ups and downs. We all know that by now, right? And it's important for us to have a support system that we can lean on, whether that's an online community or that's a physical community in your local space. They both have benefits,
absolutely.
but just knowing that you're not in this by yourself. And the awesome thing about the online world today is that you can have a challenge in almost any area, and you can find some type of group online where there are other people dealing with that same thing that you can connect with and hear their stories. And through that connection, you just feel better about life. So you're still experiencing that challenge, but you feel better, because people can go into a really deep depression when they have this challenge here, their family member has this challenge that's impacting them, and they go to work and the work setting has a challenge. Now they're taking care of a child that has a challenge, so you can really fall into a deep depression when you have all of this on top of you. So
Absolutely.
seeking that support is extremely helpful. What would you say to people that don't necessarily have a strong support system, and they're not someone that is used to being outgoing and networking with people effortlessly? How would you suggest that they can connect with someone else?
Yeah. Um, I would say, obviously, it can be hard for people to do that. Like, I've been through my own journey, and so I've been through a journey of letting people in. I've been through a journey of seeing walls come down in my own life. Because I used to be a super masker, like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Oh, it's all good, and
Right,
inside I was dying inside. And
right,
I suffered in silence a lot because it was like, well, what are they going to think if I have that struggle? Or, I don't want them to think that I don't have it all together. So I'll just pretend that I do. And you know what I mean? And so I also went through depression because of that, because you're doing it by yourself, and we're not designed to do things by ourselves. We're designed to have people around us. We're designed to feel
yeah,
loved, know that we're loved. And if we don't, that's definitely a recipe for depression. And
right,
so I would say, even if it's not, obviously, some people don't want to reach out to a lot of people, right? But even just one person, like,
yeah,
even if you just reach out to, if you can find one person that you can just share your heart with and talk with and just be yourself, like, that's empowering in itself, and that's going to help you, because
right,
we all need some type of, I don't want to say venting, but you know what I mean? Like, we need
right,
someone to be able to talk to. Can't keep that all inside of us. If we
right.
do, it's so toxic, right? And so, I know, as hard as it is to sometimes be vulnerable and to be really humble and say, this is what I'm struggling with,
Right.
it's so worth it to reach out to that one person, or to find people, like you said, there's so many different groups that you can find on social media now for any
Hmm.
issue that you're facing. And so just to reach out and to just take that first step. Really, the
Right.
first step's the hardest, but once
Yeah.
you do it, it's so worth it. So worth it.
Yeah. And I think that oftentimes we think that people are going to judge our situation when some of these people have gone through or are currently going through the same thing. I know that for myself, like you mentioned something that was key, where you said you only need one person to connect with. I know with myself, I have a
Yeah.
few key friends that if I go to them, I can pretty much talk about anything under the sun, and they are not going to judge me. And all it takes is a 1 hour conversation. And I
Yeah.
feel like, whew, I feel great now.
Totally.
So
Totally.
it's not to say that you have to have a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
You really only need that one person that's going to listen to you and allow you to have that vent session, you know? And I think that if you're going to do that with someone else, then you also have to be able to listen to someone else's woes too. You know, you can't be the one with the issues all the time. And then when it comes to your friends coming to you with their issues, it's like, okay, girl, I'll call you later. I'm a little bit busy right now. You know, it has to be a reciprocal relationship.
Absolutely.
But it really only takes one or two really close friends for you to have that sense of peace, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that you've gone through some stuff that some people would probably take into their adulthood and project some of that negativity onto other people, but instead you're using it as an experience to encourage other people and to teach them that they're not alone and bring light to the world. And that's awesome. That's awesome because there's so much darkness, and it's based on there just being a lot of hurt and pain, you know? And so when you're able to take your troublesome situation or your challenge and still be a light into this world, I think that shows a lot of strength. It shows that you've really grown through the experience.
Yeah.
What is a really good way that you can be a source of strength when you feel like you're taking care of everybody? Because with women, we tend to take care of aging parents. We're taking care of children. We're helping to care for our significant other. We're caring for the pets. And we're trying to take care of ourselves. And people always talk about self-care. So how would you suggest that people really get in at least minimal self-care into their week where they're not feeling entirely overwhelmed?
Yeah, I know that self-care is different for every person. Like some people, they want to have a spa day or, and then some people just need some alone time or whatever, right? And so I think you find out what's best for you and what really energizes you. Some people are energized by people, some people are energized alone, right? And I know for me, a big thing, like I would not be where I was today if it wasn't for God. Like there's just no way. My faith keeps me, it anchors me. And so for me, self-care is spending that time and that meditation and just being with Jesus and just really listening and just meditating on who he says that I am. And really getting that inside of me so that I don't need that affirmation from people because I already have it. And so for me, when I'm filled up and when I know who I am, then I am a better person and I can give out. But if I don't have that, being a mom of 3 kids, 3 and under, is a little bit crazy right now. And I'm really realizing that self-care thing, like just going to the store alone today was just like so nice, and just like sitting in the car and just like talking to God and talking to myself. Like it was so good. And just declaring truth about who I am, like that's been something huge for me, is like declaring out of my mouth, because we really do create things with our words, and so that's been huge for me. Is I just, at least once a day, I take time to declare truth and really speak that over myself and really get saturated in that. And I love times with girlfriends where I can just sit around and we can just talk and we can laugh and we can be silly and we can be serious and we can share our hearts. And I'm all about the real. Like I am a real life person, and I just love being real and honest and vulnerable and open. Like I'm not one for the how's the weather kind of talk. Like I want to know about you. I want you to know about me. I want deep connections. And so when I get that deep connection, that just like energizes me. And when someone, gets revelation from our conversation and they feel better about themselves, that energizes me. And so I would say, it's do what works for you, right? Because it's so different for everybody. But just make sure you have to have that, because if we are weak and if we don't have anything to give, then we're no good to anybody else. And so women want to do everything. They want to have it all. They want to They want to be able to cook the gourmet meals and take care of the kids and take care of their husband and go shopping and, have a nice house and have a good social media presence and, look good at the same time while doing it. And, it's just life is life. There's days where it does not look like that at all.
Right.
And I think it's embracing the life, right? It's for embracing real life and not having these huge expectations on ourselves. Like as women, we have these expectations that truly can destroy us. And so I'm learning, the more kids I have, I'm learning to let those go because I'm a way happier person when I'm not living under all this pressure and all these expectations.
Yeah, that is so true about expectations. And also expectations based on what worked well for somebody else. Like, for example, if you're thinking, well, at this age, I should have children. Right. All my friends have children. And I'm with this man for the last 3 years and we don't have any children together. Like, you're blaming the man because your friends happen to have children, and it could be anything. But I think just resting in the fact that everybody's life is different it's gonna look different, and there really is no normal. Your normal is what you want for yourself. So, and I also think that women can have more than what they have when they learn to delegate. Because I have talked to women that want to do everything. And when you want to do everything, well, guess what? You have no time for yourself. So all of that self-care goes out the window, Yeah. I will gladly, in a heartbeat, hire somebody to help me with various things in my day to free up the time that I can commit to myself. Absolutely. And when I don't do that, I don't really have a lot of energy for anybody else because I'm too exhausted, So I think at times knowing how to delegate and not trying to be superwoman, you'll find a lot more peace. And then you'll be able to give to your purpose and your craft on this earth too. Absolutely. I learned a long time ago that I'm not about stress. I don't want it. And anything that I can do to alleviate it, I'm going to figure out a way. So it can appear sometimes to people, though, and having said that, and it can appear sometimes to people like, well, does she have any like significant issues? Well, not in the sense of me getting it from excess stress because of how I set my life up. We don't have to be everything to everybody. I don't have to answer every single phone call. And I don't have to answer every single text. I don't need to go to your party just because you invited me. I think that there's boundaries. There's boundaries that we can put in place to make our lives the way that we want to live it,
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for sharing that expectations, because that's a real thing with many of the ladies that I've talked to that are trying to get out of that stuck mode and into feeling like they have a more fulfilling lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that, when I don't meet those, I feel like such a failure. Yeah. And then that start reacting. And I feel like the more I know who I am and the more I understand that, that whole fear of man thing, and the more it's like, I can't please everybody. Not everybody's going to like me. That it's not my issue. That's their issue. And that has nothing to do with me. So then you don't take it personally. Right. And so it's like the more I've been able to let that stuff go, the more I've been able to be like, this is who I am, and be comfortable in that. So much better, because I used to struggle so much with feeling like a failure. And then when I feel like a failure, I react. I react to my kids, I react to my husband, I react to my, all the people around me. And it's no way to live, because we're not failures.
Yeah. And everything is really a lesson learned at the end of the day. It's, if you can gain some perspective and the silver lining out of the experience, it was just a lesson, nobody's life is going to be perfect. And I honestly think that if everything went smoothly, it would be kind of boring,
Totally. Yeah.
So just embrace it,
Yeah, true.
Danielle,
a lot
thank
less
you.
stress.
Thank you so much for sharing those words. And where can people connect with you? Because you have such a powerful previous experience that I know that you're going to do more with it. So for those of you that are listening, her contact information will be in the description box, so you don't have to go and grab a pen and paper. Just real quickly, how can people get in contact with you to follow your journey?
So I'm on Instagram, Danielle Ritter blog. I started being strategic with my Instagram about 6 months ago, just really putting out content that would inspire and encourage, not just kind of like whatever content, you know. And I had a blog, it's daniellritterblog.wordpress.org, but I've recently moved it to my own domain, and so daniellritterblog.org. I am still working on that one. My baby is 3 months old, so things have been a little bit crazy, but I'm hoping, you know, when we start getting sleep and all of those things, that I will be putting more energy into my blog, my personal blog. But right now, Instagram is a good way to find me and just to connect. And I'm also on Facebook as well.
Awesome. Did you guys hear that? She's taking care of 3 children under the age of 3 right now, depending on when you listen to this. So if you would like to follow that journey and see how her children grow up, make sure you follow her on her blog, Danielle Ritter blog. And if any of that information changes, she will give me up-to-date links for you guys to follow her journey. If any of you are looking for a strong support system where you feel like you need some ladies to connect with because you don't necessarily know what your life purpose is, or you know what it is, but you're not doing anything to enhance that life purpose so that you feel like you have a fulfilling and meaningful life, you can connect with me. I have assessment tools available to you that can help you, and I can also help you in the area of health and wellness so that you have the body to be able to carry out whatever that mission is. So all of that information is in the description box. My Facebook group is Nutrition for Busy Women. Feel free to join us. That's nutrition, the number 4, busy women. But we're not just focusing on nutrition from a food consumption standpoint. We're also feeding our mind, body, and soul. So if anyone is interested in connecting, I invite you to do so. And for those of you that feel like Danielle's episode would definitely benefit someone, please share this out. And if you also have a success story that you want to put out there and share with the world, let me know, and I would invite you onto the show as well. You guys have an awesome rest of the day. Thank you so much, Danielle. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And for those of you that are interested in future episodes, please subscribe. And again, share this with family and friends that you believe that could benefit. You guys have an awesome day, and remember to live a meaningful and purposeful life. Talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.